Welcome to the show, and today for our first guest we have Kaveri Sequeira, a certified health coach and author, and she's here today to talk to us about the 6 types of hunger. Welcome, Kaveri.
Great to be here, Linda. I love being here.
And today you're talking about the 6 types of hunger. So what are the 6 types of hunger?
Yes, so there are 6 types of hunger, and I'm going to start with the first type of hunger, which is the only genuine hunger that we have, and it's called nutritional hunger. We've evolved to have, when you're hunting and gathering, we've evolved to go with the seasons of the year. And nature has different foods in different seasons, and therefore we would get a wide variety of fruit and vegetables and meat in our diets. So we've been evolved to go and try and get that variety in our diet, so we can actually meet that hunger. Unfortunately, these days when we go and look at our shopping carts, we buy the same thing week in and week out. We need to get more variety of natural foods into our trolleys, so we can actually have that variety hunger met. So that is the third type of hunger. The fourth type of hunger, which I to talk about, is the emotional hunger, and that is where when we are feeling sad or angry or stressed, and God knows we've had a lot of things to feel that way about, we generally turn to food as an answer, as a coping mechanism. Now, that is actually not a genuine hunger, right? It is actually, we're trying to cope with our feelings and our emotions at that point in time. And I used to, struggle with that as well. Like if I was missing my mom, I would want to go and eat a chocolate chip cookie, prior to doing this. And when I looked at that, at my mindset of why I was doing it, I was actually wanting love. I was associating love as a feeling to that food. But what would have been a better idea is to actually give her a call and talk to her, because that's the real emotion. So we have to be aware of that emotional hunger, which is not a genuine hunger, but it's something we do as a habit. The fifth type of hunger is low blood sugar hunger. And this is something that we have because we have, I don't know about you, but for most people around 3 o'clock, you have that, cravings that they need to just have something. And that's caused by low blood sugar hunger, because we have a lot of low quality foods which has got high refined sugar in it. And that causes, sugary foods cause a lot of blood sugar spikes. And, when that goes slightly low, we think we're hungry, but it's actually because of the diet. So that's something to be aware of. And the sixth type of hunger is empty stomach hunger. Now, we were born in feast and famine times, when we evolved. So we were kind of used to, our stomachs kind of used to shrinking and expanding when we found food, basically. The empty stomach hunger is to get us really to get motivated as a survival strategy, to give us some signs so we can go and hunt and give us some motivation to go and hunt for food, which is essentially, it's quite dangerous to go hunting, right? Because you could get killed. So the trigger we get is, you're hungry, go find some food. But it's not actually, the empty stomach hunger we're talking about is not genuine hunger, because right now we eat 3 meals a day. We don't have to go hunt for our food. We're not doing enough activity, and we're still eating a lot of food. So it's not genuinely, if our stomach growls, it's not the first time. It doesn't mean that our stomach is truly empty. It's the digestive system just kind of clearing up, and doing some work during the minimum rest time. So just be aware that, are you truly hungry? Because you don't have to eat the first time you get a signal from the stomach, because it could be just your digestive system processing the food that you ate for your last meal. So those are the 6 types of hunger.
And why is it important to actually know about these types of hunger?
Absolutely. So I guess education is really important, right? Because when you know about these 6, just by being aware of the 6, you're going to think, okay, am I really feeling emotional? Am I feeling sad? Maybe I should, try and drink a glass of water instead, or go for a walk, or actually try and meet the emotion that is bothering you, or question, am I just thirsty here? Or do I have a lot of refined, like I'm having food with a lot of refined sugar in it. So it's just being aware of that really helps. I mean, I've got a story that I can share of a person who constantly used to emotionally binge. She's like in her 30s. She just went through she went through a really difficult life event, and her way of coping at the end of the day was drinking, a couple of glasses of wine in the evening. And that was what she would go to. Once she realized that it's not actually, it's a processed food, and it's going to cause, and the next day she would have headaches. She wasn't actually dealing with the grief of what she was going through. So that's where an emotional hunger trigger was done. She coped with alcohol, whereas in evolution we didn't actually have alcohol in our diet. So she's actually not following the natural human diet, and as a result not even meeting her emotions. So it's just good to be aware of what those triggers are and actually deal with what is actually in front of you, not because it's not a genuine hunger. It's not your nutritional hunger.
So Kaveri, then for our viewers, how can they tell? What would be your tips on how they can tell the difference between the types of hunger?
Yeah, sure. So if it's thirst hunger, for example, the best thing you could do is say, have I had enough water today? And then maybe just go and drink a glass of water. Like, we should be having 7 to 8 glasses of water a day to be fully hydrated. So that would be a great thing to do. Check if you're really hungry, or is it just that I'm thirsty. So that's a good way to, and then if you have a glass of water and you stop feeling hungry, then you get your answer. The next thing you could do is look at your diet and say, am I having a lot of low quality sugars in my diet? Because that's probably what's causing the blood sugar to spike. So my recommendation is to have a lot more fruit and vegetable in your diet so you get your natural sugars. So that's one thing you could do. The other thing you could do is, just be generally more active in the day. Especially that's really useful for emotional hunger. Like, do your 10,000 steps a day, because that'll definitely help you feel better about yourself, have better emotions and mental clarity, and that definitely helps with your mental health and emotional health as well. Mindfulness practices like meditation and deep breathing, breath is a very important part as well. We all need air, so definitely more of that, because you might find that if you have an emotion and you get triggered, a good thing to do would be do 10 deep breaths and then let it out and drink a glass of water and say, I'll take a 10-minute walk and come back, and you might find that you're not hungry for that particular thing again. You actually feel good about yourself because you've not eaten something and then get into that guilty way of thinking, and then that self-sabotage, and that doesn't help you.
Thank you for that, Kaveri. And for more information on Kaveri and the 6 different types of hunger, then please go to her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. And now we'll go to break and be back after with our next guest. Welcome back. And our next guest is Helen Mack, back with us in the series of optimizing outcomes, and today she's talking about creating clarity. So clarity, Helen, that's a really interesting one. Can you tell us a bit more about that? I'm sure everybody would love to have clarity in life.
It's difficult, isn't it, Linda? I think sometimes we all feel like we're wandering around in a haze trying to work out where we're going to end up. So creating clarity is obviously a key piece of optimising outcomes. And I love the clarity piece because it has such power. There's real power in getting clear about your goals, your expectations of yourself and others, and your communication of those expectations to all of the people involved. So the power of clarity is that it helps us communicate to others what we are planning to do, how we're going to do it, and including how they can support us. Remember our What's Possible conversation from session 1. And so it enables everybody who's involved to kind of get on board, whether that's you and your family, your business, your community, or some not-for-profit organisation or charity that you're involved in, whatever part of your life that you want to get optimised outcomes from, getting clear about it is a very critical part of the process.
So how would they go about, can you explain a bit more about clarity and how we see things?
Beautiful. So I think there's four layers or four ways in which we go through to get to a position of clarity. The first is muddy. So this is literally when you're stuck. Like if you're trying to walk through a river and your boots are stuck, you might end up leaving your boots behind, or you're certainly going to end up in a mess. So muddy is a stage where you think you know where you want to go, but you're kind of stuck where you are now. And the only way to get unstuck is to make some kind of massive movement. So if you're stuck in mud, you can't just kind of wriggle forward. You've really got to push yourself out. Now, the bad news for people is that sometimes that means some kind of disagreement, some kind of blow up, because something big has to shift to get out of the mud. The second step is cloudy. So this is like trying to swim in a river where there's so much stuff in the water, so many particles in the water that you can't see where you're going. You're likely to bump into things, accidents can happen. So that the point around going from muddy to cloudy is we need to wash that through and make sure that we're focusing on the tiny points of clarity that we've got and bring those together so that we can push away the obstacles, the dirt, the stuff that's hanging around. Then we move to the third stage, which is clear. And clear sounds like it's the end of the journey, but it's the start of the clarity piece. So clear is, I now know where I am, I know where I'm going, and I can ask all of those what's possible questions that we talked about in the first session, as well as what's the best possible outcome for me now. So clear is great, but then there's one more step. If we can get to crystal, then we're really cooking. So there's two benefits about being crystal clear about something. And you know a lot about this, Linda, so I know I'm right in your space. With two elements of crystal, if you can get to crystal clear, then it creates a resonance. It creates an energy that attracts into your world the support that you need, the help that you need, and things just become much easier. And the second thing about crystal clear is that if you shine a light through crystal, it sparkles into a million different colours, you know, all of the rainbows sort of thing. And so that means you have more options and more colour, more brightness in the ability to achieve your goal. So they're the four steps. We need to identify where we are and then take action to get us to the next level up, ideally aiming for that crystal clear at the top.
So that brings up a lot of questions for people, doesn't it? How do I get clear? How do I do that?
Yeah. So I think that there's 6 questions that we need to ask ourselves, and these are not new. Everyone's asked these questions in various circumstances before, but if you've got the clarity lens looking at these questions, we need to ask what I call the 5 W's and the H. So why, what, when, where, who, how.
Helen, can you tell us a little bit more about the power of those questions?
Excellent question, Linda. So the thing about those questions is that regardless of your goal, if you get everyone involved in that goal to answer all of those questions, then you'll have people enrolled in the process and they'll know how to support you or what their part of it is. So let's go through a couple of different examples. So the first question that you need to ask yourself or others involved is why. So this is actually the purpose question, which can actually be a very deep, long conversation about the purpose of why am I doing this. But at a lighter level, it's simply, why is this important to me now? Why do I want to take this on? Why is it going to be important to me in my life or in the life of the other people in my world? So the why question for yourself and for others is the important pivotal starting point. So then we go, why, what? What am I going to do? What is the outcome that I'm after? And what will be the benefit to myself or to whoever else in my life that it involves? So if it's a health goal, it might just be me, but the what might have a long-term ramification or benefit to my family or my community, etc. So why, what, when? So when is an important one in terms of the timeline. Is it urgent, has to be done now, rally people around and get going? Or is it something that's a longer term plan, which gives other people time to become involved, time to get educated, time to start learning how they're going to be part of this process? So the when is around timeline and urgency. So we've got what, why, what, when. The next one is who, which is who am I going to need on my team? So if you remember my story from the first session around my late husband's illness, the challenge of that was who do we need to get involved? And so we got friends and family at various levels. We had different medical teams. It was really about bringing a team around us to take us together on this journey. So we needed to know the who's. And then you need to enroll those people, engage them, make sure that they're as excited and interested in your goal as you are. Those great supporters can make a big difference to whether you achieve that or not. Then we have where, which is it all going to happen where I am now? Does it mean me having to move? And there's been some very interesting moves in people's businesses and lives in recent times. And so you can set a goal for here, or you can set a goal for over there. I'm going to do this where? I'm going to once I've moved over there, I'm going to be able to do this in this new location. Or is it a transitory thing? So my where at the moment is all about working from anywhere. I want to make sure in my coaching that I can reach my people wherever I am. And so that means I can live my lifestyle while still making a difference to individuals. So my where at the moment is anywhere in the world, as long as I've got internet coverage. And then the final step is how. And the how is all about what processes am I going to use? What steps am I going to take? How do I do this thing? Do I do it alone? Do I do it within a group, in a company, in a community? How do I want to make this happen? And the most important first step of that is what's the best first step to get the best possible outcome?
Thank you, Helen. And for more about Helen Mack, we'll be back next time in the third in the series about optimising outcomes, and it's maximising our momentum. In the meantime, please go to her webpage and on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au for more information. And we'll see you after the break with another guest in the series. Welcome back, and now we have Pauline Rooney back with us, our Yoga for Wellbeing instructor and author. And now we're talking about devices in work, computers, and in school, and in the environment, really. Welcome back, Pauline.
Thanks, Linda. It's lovely to be back.
And today the topic is devices in our workplace or school, in our environment, really, mobile phones. So how much time do we spend on these devices?
Linda, I personally was shocked when I was doing the research. On average, we spend approximately 17 years of our life on smartphones and other devices. And I found that truly amazing. I have read other reports that state that 17 hours is only on smartphones, and other devices are added on top of that. No matter which way you look at it, Linda, we're on our devices a lot.
And how can we incorporate yoga into this? How does yoga help us to look at this differently?
Well, the blessings of yoga is we can do yoga everywhere and anywhere, and it is for everyone and everybody. So if you're at work or even at school, the same things apply. We tend to sit very set and lean in. And there's the yoga poses of sitting back, lifting, doing a spinal twist. We can do all of those. Run our legs up and down, cross the arms over like this, all of these things. If you are at work, you can still read your emails while you're doing these. So there's no downtime with the yoga in the office, in the gaming room, schoolroom, or when we're having fun on the computer for relaxation. So there's just so many things. I could be here all day telling you about them. But the major ones is sitting up, because most people slouch when they're on a device. So it's sitting up, keeping the shoulders back and down. But also, Linda, I don't think many people think about their eyes, right? So with the yoga, we have what we call palming. It's I think we do it naturally. I really do. But we rub our hands and get them lovely and warm. We close our eyes and gently cup our eyes over, and we breathe in the warm. It is truly amazing how that, I'm sure you've experienced it too, that tired, glassy feeling, it takes all that away. And it gives us a cleaner look at our screens. So we see things more clearly. We're not misinterpreting what is being on the screen. We can read more and for longer. If you take short breaks, you can stay on your device for longer periods of time. It's very important. The other thing that yoga puts a great deal of attention to is what we call Hasta yoga. And that's the yoga of hands. I don't think a lot of people have heard about it. It's absolutely amazing. So if you incorporate Hasta yoga into the work, play or school time, you'll be amazed for the carpal tunnel, for the arm strength, all fingers, flexibility, mobility and it's as simple as bringing each finger in turn together and then going back. You do that on both hands. This one may look a little bit tricky, but it's extraordinarily good because it works through the carpal tunnels. We have to close down our tall man. Then we're going to, if you lock those down, it's a lot easier. You're going to face your left hand up and your right hand down, so your index and ring go together and your index and ring go together. Now we take the pressure off the tall man and just sit like that and work those fingers back. You will be amazed how much work that is up the wrists. And then we release them and turn them over. It's fantastic, absolutely. And then we always circle through our wrists, because even with the trackball, we're fairly sedentary. We're working 3 or 4 of the movements. Sliding, same thing. So we need to keep the mobility in our wrists. So just folded leaf, see your fingernails, circle around, back. They are fantastic. The other one I really do like, and I can read my emails, pointer and thumb, and then if you can, look, this is going to look different from every person. Step the fingers up and over because it pulls the fingers back in an opposite direction. So it's a bit tricky looking really. And then we can let those down and then give the fingers a little bit of a wiggle. They're so simple and so easy. Another one that I like to do is sit and ripple my arms, just like that, because our hands are up here. We want the circulation going through. We want to drop the shoulders and give that weight. Even those, they're great. Just to ripple through, get the movement going, fantastic. The other one that helps the cardiovasculars is running on the spot. And that is as simple as sitting straight and running up and down like that. Again, you can be reading something, you can be on the phone, you can be gaming, you can be waiting while the other students are having their say. So all of this, it doesn't matter what age, what circumstance, if you're on a device, you can be doing yoga. It's that simple.
And what about your best advice for as the last takeaway today for our viewers?
Oh, look, there's so many, Linda. I could go on and on. But honestly, if you're stretching up, so just raise your arms, you might get your arms up to here, or you can get them right up. That's okay. The other one I think is very important is the shoulder roll, because we're sitting over way too much. And when we sit over, we squash our tummy a little bit too much, so we need to sit up. And when you're rolling your shoulders, it's very difficult to roll from down here. So we need to sit up and give that lovely roll, but keep those arms in. I really think between that and the palming for the eyes would be my 2 extremely good tips.
Fantastic, thank you so much. And if you'd like to know more about Pauline Rooney and yoga for wellbeing, specifically in this case about devices, then please go to her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au, and we will say goodbye now till next week.